On the agenda tonight, we're going back to 2021. We're going to be taking a look at New Radicals, and they're going to be performing You Get What You Give. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So, this video tonight, I've put in a little bit more time than normal for a video because this is going to be one of those investigation videos, but I especially enjoy these ones where on the original video, there are a lot of people in the comments section who are saying that it's live, that it's not live, that they're playing, that they're not playing, that it's just the original song that they're miming to. So all of these different opinions going on, which means that jumping into it, obviously, as you guys know, I do like to get into the details and back everything up that I say with objective facts. And just to let you guys know, this is titled as New Radicals, You Get What You Give, full live reunion performance for Biden-Harris inauguration. So there you go. It is labelled as being live, so we'll have a listen and we'll see what we can see. Just quickly, bear in mind, I am going to be jumping into this a lot because it is an analysis video. So if you want to watch it the whole way through without me interrupting it, then click on the link in the description below. But let's jump into it.
We got the dreamer's disease, age 14, they got you down on your knees. So polite, we're busy still saying please. Frenemies, when you're down ain't your friend. Every night I smash a Mercedes-Benz.
I'm just going to jump in here. I mean, first of all, what a tune this is. And I mean, even I know this song here in the UK. I know that these guys are from the USA, but it's, I mean, such a great composition and such a positive song with the way that it's just putting it out there, that you get what you give and not to give up on everything and all that kind of stuff. There actually is a bit at the end of the song which I don't really understand, where they talk about, I think it's Marilyn Manson or something being a fake or somebody else. I don't know what all that was about, but for the rest of the song, apart from that very last bit, it very much has that clear message. But the first thing, actually, if I get rid of this on screen, the first thing doesn't take too much explaining. So whether this was recorded live all in one shot, it definitely wasn't, because, I mean, just looking here, look at the microphone, the way that it's pointed down, and then as soon as we cut to the next shot, it's now horizontal again. So we know that there have been multiple takes of this. So just having a quick scroll through, this is a different example, but to show you the time scale from when the mic is in Greg's hand and then when it's back in the mic stand. But let me just play this through. So literally from one dance left, it is now back in the mic stand. So you'd have to be pretty quick to achieve that, especially considering he's moving kind of away and now it's back in there. So yeah, it's fair to say it's definitely cut together from different performances that they've obviously done on this night or this day, whenever they did it. So we can rule out it just being all done in one take. With the video portion, that's the video. So now getting into the audio, when we're talking about the instrumentation that we're looking at, are they playing what we're hearing? So let's jump into this. You got the music in you. Go, let go. So they're are two crashes going on. You might be able to hear it, but we've got hi-hat, snare, hi-hat, snare, hi-hat, snare, crash, crash. But the drummer only plays one crash and goes back to the hi-hat. See if you can spot it. He's only hit that crash once, and he didn't go to another crash. He's only gone to his hi-hat. So we're not hearing what was just played because there's only one crash there. And I mean, moving on a little bit further, I mean, the thing about drums, I've said this in videos before, miming drums is really difficult because some drummers throw in fills in the studio that were just spur of the moment. And then when they come to mime them live, they'll do a fill. They might even know that there's a fill there, but they can't remember exactly what they did, where there's all on the snare. Maybe there's a bit of, you know, high, mid, low, tom. So trying to get it right is really difficult. But let's just look at this next part. That's another part. Let me just move that over. Because if you look at the drummer's timing here, we want to listen out for these crashes and when they come in. So you might have been able to spot that. Watch it again. We're looking at the drummer. When these crashes come in, they've already come in by the time, you know, he's actually really late with this. But the reason for this is that you can see that he's got headphones on. Therefore, he's playing to a click track. And this is a different tempo, by the way, than the original. They're really close. And it might have been the case that just playing to a click, you know, the drummer maybe sped up and slowed down a little bit because that can happen. But yeah, in this case, he's very late with these crashes, but we hear the crashes in time. So again, I mean, yeah, he's really late with those. So as for what we're looking at and what we're hearing instrumentally, we can say that, yeah, it doesn't match up, unfortunately. So now we're going to be jumping into the vocal. So I think what's happening here is Greg does have a live mic, and the backing vocals on this live performance are different to the original recording as well. So we've got a separate vocal take, but whether the vocal has been taken from the original song and put into this performance, and just, I did say that the tempo does change. And now just thinking about it, in order to take the original vocal from the original record when it was released, that is going to be very strict with its timing. So maybe that's why the tempo of this live performance is slightly different, and maybe that's why the drummer is missing, or he's not missing them. When they played it live, we're not hearing what's actually going on. So he's in time with their performance that we can't hear, but when you then sync it up to all of the elements that have been pieced together, to have the original audio and vocal from the original record, that has got to be strict timing wise. You can't be a little bit loose with it because you're having to now get the vocal to perfectly match up. So that's just explained another thing in my head as to what has happened and why that timing's ever so slightly out. But anyway, getting back into this, let's get this back on screen and centralize it. We're going to be looking at these lines from the original record and this live performance just to see what's going on.
Music in you, what that's left, the swell is gonna pull through. Don't give up, you got a reason to live. Can't forget, we only get what we give.
So I'm going to jump in here. What I'm going to mention now is that this vocal is different to the original record, but I think what they've done is they've recorded a vocal. I mean, it sounds really accurate, really clean. So it might have been the fact that they just pre-recorded it and then mimed along to a pre-recorded vocal, but we know that we're not hearing what we're seeing. So it might have been recorded totally separately as a perfect take pretty much, and maybe edited in the studio a little bit. But what we do know, I say we do know, what I know, and I'm about to tell you, is that this vocal is identical to the original record. So it means that the parts that we hear that are they sound slightly different to the original record, those are Greg's voice from this performance or this recording that they made for this performance. So that's why it's ever so slightly different. But in places he doesn't sing either as loudly, or he just doesn't sing that bit. So let's get into the evidence. This is the original record, the isolated vocal from the original record plotted on a pitch graph. So this is the note that's being hit. And as you can see, the pitch monitoring software didn't pick it up all that clearly. So what I'm going to do is now zoom in on this. And now what I'm going to do is overlay the live vocal that we're hearing. So this is the record and the live performance that we're listening to. You can see how it's almost like when we put it over the top of this, it's joining up the lines for us. And pretty much the whole way through that. Now, you can't do this. I was going to say the odds of doing this are like 1 in a trillion, but you can't do it. It's not even that. So, yeah, matching these lines up identically between 2 vocal takes is impossible. So it means that this particular vocal on the live performance is the original record. And it's just been mixed in there. And this is why I think, yeah, they might have actually done a separate performance of this and recorded it in the studio and then just kind of mimed along to it maybe. I don't think they're miming. I think they are genuinely playing, but we're not hearing what they're playing. Yeah, you can see this kind of thing as well, where a line from the original record and the live performance match up perfectly. And we're talking fractions of a millisecond here, really, the fact that it's perfectly joined up at that exact point. Again, that's impossible. It's impossible to follow a line into a line with 2 separate performances with a vocal. So let's jump into the next example. And actually, I don't know whether you can see in the background, on that final phrase, Greg's actually quite far away from his mouth and we still hear that second phrase. But this is why we're going to be focusing on this. I mean, it's quite a unique phrase to be looking at with the pitch monitor as it's gone through. But what I'll do is bring up the original record and I'll move this to the right. And again, we're looking at this in such detail. This is impossible to have exactly the same pitch to a variation of 0 cents. That's what we're looking at. There's 0 difference in pitch, which is impossible to replicate one performance onto the next one to be that accurate. But anyway, we're going to zoom into this again. The lines we're looking at here are the original record, and the lines that are now coming in are this live performance. So look at the way that it continues perfectly, like I said, to a variation of 0 cents. This line is coming out of the other line and the other lines are going on top of each other. Even with the change in tempo, we're still getting this exact matching of pitch, which is, yeah, impossible to do, because when you talk about this line ending at this exact pitch and then following on to this line of now the live performance, and the live performance, by the way, is matching this, it's overlapped perfectly. So anyway, we've got the objective proof that the original vocal from the record is in this performance. Now, as to whether there's a live vocal there, I think there is another vocal. It's just at certain points we hear it and at certain points we don't. So this isn't going to match up all the time, but this does show conclusively that the original vocal is throughout this live performance. So those people that are commenting on this original video saying it's the original vocal, they are correct. The original vocal is in there. So an interesting one for tonight, and it's definitely been a video that's taken a hell of a lot longer to plan, isolate vocals, compare original vocals and instrumentation to then live. performance, instrumentation and vocals, isolating the vocals as well, comparing those, running them through the pitch monitoring software. There's been a lot to get it all up on screen, but the point was to show you guys the evidence and show you the proof that the live vocal matches up perfectly with the original record, to the point where it just literally takes over because it's that perfect of a match. So yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously a great song. This is a great performance video to look at as well, whether you class it as live or not. Yeah, I think it is, and qualifies as a different version because of the backing vocals, because those are different on this particular performance. I'm not going to call it a live performance because there are too many elements in there that we're not actually seeing what's happening, or we're seeing them play but we're not hearing what's going on. And I think maybe in the backing vocals as well, there's a female backing vocalist and it sounds like she's maybe singing 2 lines at once. So yeah, there are bits here and there that I think, well, maybe they've recorded this as a separate thing, worked on it in the studio and then shot this video to go with it. But I know that a lot of people would then say, well, why have you put live on the video if it isn't a live video? And it's all to do with what you class as live. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for suggesting this one in the first place. And keep those suggestions and requests coming in the comment section below. As always, let me know what you guys think. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!